Live! Welcome to Throw in the Podcast, where we throw out all the options in a character creator. Today I'm joined by
Yay!
today I'm joined by Kesona in Shadows of Men, Desdemona in
Wow.
Riptide, and Rasmira in Lumi's Shadows of Sidria, Alice, as well as
Hello.
Eloquin in Shadows of Men, and you know the rest, Titan.
Yay! Hello.
Because I did your introduction in the first one we did, so at a certain point it become repetitive.
Yeah, it will.
Anyways, how y'all doing?
I don't know. Just eating some cookie dough because I have nothing better to do at the moment in time.
I would kill for some cookie dough right now. I've not had it in a
I've
while.
been trying so hard to get another bucket because I already finished this bucket. I'm just like
Alright.
looking.
How about you, Titan?
I'm doing good. Similar, I am eating cookie brownies, so kind of.
Fuck. I'm missing out.
Mm-hmm.
God. I made the wrong choice clearly with. And speaking of choices, today we're talking about role-playing games or RPGs.
Woo!
Not my best segue.
So many choices.
Not my best segue. So I guess to start, what are some of your guys' favorite RPGs?
Thinking about it, I have so many. I have a couple,
Same.
actually.
There's a lot that I favor. My favorite one, my favorite two have to be Elder Scrolls Oblivion and Fallout New Vegas, though.
Okay, strong picks. How about
Really
you?
strong picks.
Mhm.
Surprising. Mine is actually Okami, which
Ah.
is the game that I was literally playing the other day and I
Yep.
almost finished.
So, would you like to describe Okami for people who may not have heard of it?
Okami is a game based off of Japanese mythology and folklore, and it takes place in ancient Japan, which is also called Nippon. And you play as Okami Amaterasu, which is the goddess of the sun, but she's in the body of a wolf. So you get to run around as this wolf with a big flaming disc on your back, slaying evil demons and stuff, and deplaguing the land. It's a really long ass game, and
Well,
yesterday was actually the day that I got the farthest into this game.
Well, I think that goes without saying that almost all RPGs are very long games. They kind of have to be.
They have to
Oh
be.
yeah.
If it's not long
Well, there's
enough,
some real
it's not
short ones out there
enjoyable.
too.
But the most well-known ones, I would argue, are the longer ones, such
Yeah,
as the
definitely true.
arguably one of the most famous RPGs out there is the Elder Scrolls series.
Oh yeah, no, their games will go on forever.
Oh yeah.
Legit.
So personally, I have only ever played Skyrim, which I don't know in the fan base if that's considered the best one or if Oblivion is.
I'd say Oblivion's considered the best just because it did a lot more than Skyrim did with a lot less.
Well, what did that game do? Because I am very unfamiliar with it.
The basis of the story, without going into a whole lot of spoilers, is basically the Emperor is at the start of the game, like the Emperor is driven out of his castle place. I can't remember the exact name of it because it's been a little bit.
His castle, his home front. He's kicked out. He's given.
Yes,
a boot.
his home front.
Yep.
He's escaping there because there's a bunch of cultist assassins after him, and essentially, basically, he dies. You're given the duty to go find his long lost son because all his other sons are dead. And then that's basically where most of the story kicks off, and it's basically a lot of demon fighting.
Okay, so the enemies of this game are demons, which I assume are what the cultists worship.
Yes.
So this takes place in the Empire. The Imperial.
Yes, this takes place in the Imperial City and around there. So.
Okay, so
Cyrodiil.
Cyrodiil, that's right. What would you say was the strongest aspect of that game?
The strongest aspect of the game probably has to be their class system, because one thing I did like about Skyrim was the openness of it, but Oblivion did their like class system in a way that made it feel like that was something that you devoted yourself to.
Okay, so it
It,
felt
it was
more.
something you decided to do instead of like, okay, you picked a class, now you have to do this.
So it felt more freeing, like you could truly create your own character as opposed to just
Yeah.
cosmetics.
Yeah.
Alrighty. What are some of the other aspects of that game? I guess is the next question. Like any memorable side quests, like because the heart of any RPG is the side quest.
Oh yeah. Well, all of the Daedra side quests are nice. My favorite one though probably has to be one where you have to go down into a dungeon and basically the ghost of a dead person keeps talking to you, trying to get you to fucking leave until eventually you find it and it's not actually a ghost.
Which I will not ask because I will not spoil it because I feel like there's a good like laugh out loud.
Yeah,
twist to that.
there's a good twist in there that I'd rather not say.
That is fair.
Nah.
That is 100% fair.
But yeah, overall, Oblivion just had like a lot more stuff in it. It had like a lot more creatures and monsters around than Skyrim did, and it did a lot of things better that Skyrim kind of dropped the ball on.
All right, Alice, have you ever played any of the Elder Scroll games? Just like because you have talked a lot, and I kind of feel like we're leaving you out.
I actually haven't. I haven't
Ah.
played any of the Elder Scrolls games. I've been wanting to, especially the boyfriend. He's been pestering me about it to play it.
Mm,
The only thing that really keeps me from playing it is spiders.
fair enough.
Yeah,
tell you-
I
that is
think-
fair.
Because I think they're absolutely fucking terrifying.
Yeah, and they definitely are in this game. That's for sure.
And I literally have nearly all the old Elder Scroll games in the CD form because my dad had a tendency to collect them all and he never played them. He has almost every the only one we don't have is the actual the most popular one. We have everything else but that one.
I think Skyrim is the most popular.
Yeah, Skyrim.
Skyrim's the most popular one.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Out of all of them, I don't have Skyrim sadly.
Yep.
And I literally did not want to really play them because spiders.
Fair enough.
I will say there aren't a whole lot of spiders in Oblivion.
There
Well,
You could pretty
isn't.
much go the whole game. You could pretty much go the whole game without seeing any of them, to be honest.
What would you say is
Yeah.
the most beginner friendly? Like, let's say again, Alice is going to the series beginning. What would you
Oh,
say is the most
Skyrim by far.
I
The
would agree.
beginning
Like
for
no,
like humble beginnings.
for like I think more beginning friendly. Like as in, this is probably the one you want to start with to get into the series.
Hmm.
Essentially, the
Elder Scrolls is one of those cool ones too, where you can play any one of the games and not have to worry about not having played the other ones, because there are hints towards like the other events happening, but like it's not like you're gonna need that information.
yeah. I would agree with that. As a guy who's only played Skyrim, I would say that I was never really confused by the lore or anything like that.
It really does a great job at explaining it to you.
Yeah, it really does. They're fun. I also like some of the responses. I can't think of any stand-up ones because it's been years since I played that game. But I do,
Yeah.
if nothing else, I do appreciate the Skyrim glitches.
Oh yeah, there
I
are quite a
think-
bit of them.
I think everybody knows about the Skyrim glitches.
Oh my god.
Yeah, there are a lot of them, and the best of the team has even capitalized on that.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I mean,
Like the giant glitch where like they knock you 10,000 feet
Yeah.
in the air. They ended up putting that in just
it's
on
raining
regular.
men. It's raining men. Hallelujah.
Hallelujah.
Mhm.
But speaking of Bethesda, I do think it's kind of crappy that like I feel like part of me wants to believe that they intentionally leave those glitches in because they know the fan base will fix them. Because Skyrim in particular has a huge.
I can tell
mod
you right
base.
now, they do.
Yeah.
Bethesda itself is not a great company.
No, but because they know their community will fix it. Because one thing about the Elder Scrolls that really helps with the RPG element of it is the modding community.
Oh yeah, no, it has a massive fucking community and massive 7 communities where the modding community adds a lot to it and adds a lot of
Oh.
like really good juicy lore and stuff to it that art is technically part of it, but you never see it in any of the games
It
and stuff
expands
like
on
that.
it. Which, yeah, I always think that's nice that, like, a shitty company has a really good fan base. But moving on from that shitty company, let's talk about Fallout.
Oh my
Oh,
god.
back to the shitty company.
Yeah, going from the frying pan and into the fire, because arguably Fallout, well, it lived up to its namesake recently. But let's talk about the good games in the series before we get into the shit again.
Alright, so Fallout 3 and New Vegas.
I would argue that Fallout 4 is okay.
Fallout 4 it's okay, but it doesn't. It kind of drives away the feel of a Fallout game.
That's fair. Now, I will say this up front. I have only ever played 4.
I played
That's fair.
4 for about 2 hours and I just couldn't anymore.
That's fair.
Yeah, I feel that. I
And
feel
the thing is that I don't really feel bad for just playing it for 2 hours and then leaving it because I only did pay $4 for it.
Okay, that's fair then. That is fair. You got a bargain. I bought it at 60.
It's because at the time that Fallout 4 came out, I was still in PR, and then something happened with GameStop in PR that they did not pay taxes in PR.
Oh.
So, because of the tax fraud that they were doing, they got banned from PR.
Okay.
And now we don't
No.
have any GameStops in PR. We
Yeah.
gotta rely on Best Buy, Walmart, and then some other shitty company.
Probably for the best, considering GameStop took a
Yeah,
station.
I'm gonna be honest. GameStop fucks people over anyway.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
moving on from, business practices,
Yay.
Yeah,
Just to
that's a
briefly
whole
touch-
nother topic.
just to really touch on Fallout 4, I felt like the RPG elements that was well present in the original series was very lacking. And I think part of that was having the main character have a voice actor.
Yeah, that was a big part because it took away your ability to be like, okay, this is what I want to say, but I want to be able to think it as I like it to be said.
Yeah, because Fallout New Vegas and Fallout 3 and the earlier Fallouts before Bethesda, had a wide variety of options.
Yeah, because they were meant to be these massive open worlds where you literally made your own adventure.
Yep.
And Fallout 4 kind of took a lot of that away from you.
Also, I felt like the main quest in Fallout 4 in particular felt very lackluster. Like, I wasn't really driven by it, which is odd considering the whole plot is to rescue your character's son. But
Well, here's the thing. With that one, I could definitely understand because that's a very overdone plot, and
yeah.
it's one that turns a lot of people away because there are a million games out there like, oh, go find your family member, which Fallout 3 had find your dad, but at the same time, there was a lot more going on in that story that kept you going.
Yeah. And I think I remember watching the Angry Joe review of it, and I think he summed it up best with that plot. He was like, okay, I gotta find my son. Wait, what's this? I can plant a garden?
Yeah, pretty much.
3 years later, wait a minute. I feel like I'm forgetting something. Oh my god, I forgot to water the melons.
Yeah, no, it was definitely a very forgettable storyline, especially because I will say what it lacked in having a storyline. A lot of its side quests acted a lot more like a storyline. Like the individual storylines for like the factions were
Yeah.
great,
For the most part.
except for the Minutemen.
Yeah,
we
there
don't
was
talk about the
nothing of
Minutemen.
substance there.
Yeah.
There was really nothing of substance. Like, I could not tell you who the Minutemen were, other than they were just the stereotypical good guys. I mean, the Brotherhood of Steel
Also-
were assholes, but I remember those guys because they were such assholes.
Yeah, the Brotherhood of Steel were assholes, but here's the thing, they also didn't make sense there. Because the Brotherhood of Steel started way out west, and it's only been like 200 years since like the bomb dropped, so they shouldn't have been there yet.
Yeah, let's be honest, after Fallout 76, the lore of the series is fucked.
Oh yeah, fuck yeah.
So- I'd rather have a
They
plausibility.
have a chance to redeem themselves, but they probably won't.
They won't. It's fucking Bethesda, man. But let's go on to the good Fallout games.
Here's to hoping they don't ruin the Elder Scrolls series.
Ah,
They might
They will.
in the future.
They probably will.
It may not be the next game, but it will happen eventually.
It will happen eventually. Sadly.
It is.
Yeah.
Inevitable.
That's the sad truth about all games, though.
It really is.
There's always that one game in its future where it's not going to live up.
I
No,
know.
but you can still have a game that doesn't live up and still be good. I'm saying flat out that Bethesda is gonna ruin it. Like, make it bad.
Oh fuck yeah, no, yeah.
But let's go on.
Yeah,
to
that they basically did that with Fallout.
Yeah, but let's go back to the glory age of Fallout when the games were good.
Yeah. But yeah, no, like Fallout 3 and Fallout New Vegas were outstanding games, both of which got Platinum Hits awards. But like, yeah, they were awesome games, and they gave you a lot to work with.
I imagine.
One of the glories about like the Fallout and both Elder Scrolls series both is they did something that some RPGs do but not a lot do, is where they give you a basis to where you start off from, but everything before that is blank and you have the right to make what it was.
And I do appreciate that. Like, I have seen the opening of Fallout 3. I do appreciate that you go through your life and make decisions. I actually kind of wish that was a feature in Fallout 4, because if I'm going to be honest, I would have added a really good hint of tragedy, because we could have seen the world, what the world was like before the bombs hit.
Yeah, instead we got a short little sequence about, okay, yeah, now the bombs are dropping, get in the vault.
Yeah.
But, yeah, so, yeah, I'm gonna be honest, Fallout 4, because Fallout 3 did it good, where it was like, okay, yeah, you were seeing this happen, like, whenever you have to leave this, it's a bad thing, and it makes you feel something.
Yeah.
Fallout 4 was, okay, here's these two people, yeah, they're important to you. They're important to you. Why? Because we say so. Now they're gone. How do you feel? Indifferent? Okay.
Yeah. Bethesda, like we said a bunch of times in this thing, they really dropped the ball. Like, I know it sounds like we're overstating it, but I bought Fallout 76.
Well, they really did. They took a great series,
a beloved series,
dropped it.
Yeah, and like I was one of those guys who bought Fallout 76 at the beginning. I played it when it was at its worst. I'm lucky because I didn't get scammed into all the merchandise stuff, like the bottles and the helmets and everything like that. It was a really poor game.
Yeah.
But let's go to the redemption arc of Fallout with Obsidian's The Outer Worlds.
Alright, 1 second.
Okay. So Alice, how much do you know
Yes.
about The Outer Worlds?
I don't know anything, actually.
Okay, so
If we're still talking Fallout, I
No,
only played.
In the middle something, but alright.
What the fuck?
all right, don't worry about it. So The Outer Worlds was Obsidian's take on a Fallout game. They tore away from Bethesda, and they became their own thing. And they were like, hey, we're going to make a good game with memorable stuff, for the most part, really good dialogue, tree options, and make you have an actual fucking say in the world. Keep in mind, this was after the heels of Fallout 76, and they did it. They actually made a good game.
Oh, then I didn't hear that.
Okay, so The Outer Worlds takes place in the future where we are colonizing space, but it's an extreme capitalist society where corporations are effectively the government.
I mean, it might become that way one day, but continue onward.
And your character was a colonist who was with a group of colonists who was supposed to be with the first people who made it here, but you got stranded in space. And now you were revived by this mad scientist, kind of Doc Brown motherfucker. And your goal is just to go through the world and save your fellow colonist.
Oh.
In my opinion, this game is a really great RPG. You want to know what one of the options is, like early on in the game?
What?
You can the scientist guy who freed you has a bounty out on him. He's a criminal in the eyes of the law of this society. You could turn him in.
You can legit turn them in
Yeah, you can legit turn them in.
for free money. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, let's do that.
It feels like a true RPG.
If I could turn my own the person that revived me in for like a heap a ton of money, then please let's do that.
It's a lot of money. Like I think it's a really good amount of money. It would also get you in good standing with the corporation. I believe Spacer's Choice. But yeah, like that. To me, the Outer Worlds is is a really good example of an RPG done right.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I'll have to look into that then.
It's a really fun game. I would highly recommend it. And the best part about it is that, like, it feels like your choices matter.
Yeah, because they do.
They do. They really do.
They gotta.
They highly impact the world.
Yes. Like, Titan, tell me about your experience in the Outer Worlds, because I know you've played it.
I didn't play a whole lot of it before. I stopped because I had other things I needed to finish.
Yeah, that's fair. I mean...
But from what I remember, it was really fun. I really liked the interaction between characters. And it wasn't just you and the character. Like, you could help interact one character with another and help them with their relationship and stuff.
Yeah, that was,
You really got very, invested in the world.
Yeah. And I feel like that's the best way you could do, like, this kind of RPG. But now let's talk about a more open-ended RPG. One where your choices aren't necessarily what matter, but rather the gameplay. Monster Hunter.
Let's talk about that.
All right. As the residential Monster Hunter expert here, Alice, what do you think of the series?
Love it. Love it. I love it. It's so... If we're gonna talk about Monster Hunter World, the story itself, it's very, very interesting. It's just, when it comes to the previous games where you are within the one continent, and let's not forget Monster Hunter Stories, which is also an RPG, but it's a collect 'em all game.
Oh.
Yeah, so you actually get to have pet monsters. You could have a pet Rathian, you could have a pet Devil Joe, you could have literally Glavenus, you could have a Jagra, you could have most of the monsters in the game.
That actually sounds like a lot of fun.
You get to ride them, some of them get to fly, dig, some of them stealth. Each one has their own little stats and their quirks and what they do.
You get to ride the iguana dogs.
Not really. If we're talking about the great Jagras, they don't exist because the game came before Monster Hunter World.
Oh, I was just talking about Jagras.
Oh, the Jagras, yeah, you get to ride the great Jagras. The Jagai.
So, in your opinion, what would you say is the best Monster Hunter then?
The best Monster Hunter?
Yeah, like in your personal opinion.
Monster Hunter 4 Ultimate.
I only played
Not Worlds! Monster Hunter 4 Ultimate.
I know. I only played World, so what would you say made it better than World?
What?
What would you say made it better than World? For you. Like, what makes it the best? Like, what makes it the king?
I guess it's just how challenging the game is, because Worlds... not only does Worlds lack a lot of monsters, even though they recently added several new monsters and some previous ones like the Barioth, the Devil Joe as of late, the Nargacuga, which is my personal favorite monster. They lack the new game really, really lacks experience when it comes to fighting monsters. There's plenty of side quests. I can't really keep up with the side quests anyway, even though they are mandatory for the story. It's hard for me to keep up with each and every one of them when there's like 3 monsters in the same area, and then you're like, wait, I just need to kill the one.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden a Devil Joe comes in, and then a giant bagel comes in, and then hell happens, and then, you don't know what the
F is for fuck.
F is for yeah. So when it comes to that, the open world feeling when that comes with world, it's nice. It's really, really nice. I love it, but to me it's a lot simpler to make it into zones. And not only that, it actually gives you more space in the game to add even more monsters that you could fight.
Okay, so simplicity and content would be why that's your favorite then. To
Yeah.
sum it up really, really basically.
One, it's a lot longer of a game. It's way longer of a game.
Mhm.
It has more monsters, it has more side quests, and it's a lot simpler in the sense of, yeah, you choose your weapon, you get your shit, you go to the zone that you think the monster is at. You better pray to God that it doesn't go to the zone on the opposite side of this entire fucking place.
I
And
was
there you go.
Yeah, I was always a solo player in Monster Hunter, so it was especially hard when I was ganged up on by monsters.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that happens quite a bit.
There are certain monsters that there's actually monsters in the previous games that you have to fight with a party. You literally have to fight with a full party. Like, I think it's Fatalis, which is one of the more iconic ones. So is Gormagala. There is Gogmazios. Actually, I think you could play him solo, but the first time you have to play it with a party. And these are all elder dragons.
Uh,
But the Fatalis one is one that is mandatory that you have to have a party with. Simply because this dragon, this giant fucking elder dragon, has lived for fucking centuries, and it's literally unkillable. It is an unkillable elder dragon. Because
So it's Alduin.
because of the
Yeah.
once you carve the armor off of Fatalis and you actually wear it, the lore is that whoever wears that armor becomes a Fatalis itself.
So it's a cursed armor thing.
It's a cursed armor thing, and apparently nobody comprehends the fact that you can't wear fucking Fatalis armor.
Curse is curse.
It's cursed,
Yeah.
and there's 3 different Fatalises too.
Yeah.
There's a normal, there's the Great Fatalis, and then there's the Ebony Fatalis.
That sounds really interesting, but I think we've been neglecting, arguably, the greatest part of Monster Hunter. The Palico.
Yes!
Those fuckers are so cute.
Palicos!
Those fuckers are
They're
so
the most
cute.
adorable things ever.
Yeah.
They are one of the best little things that you could actually have as friends.
Oh my god, they are so adorable.
They're the best companions, and in fact, in Worlds, you could actually make your Fatalis do not the Fatalis, your Palico do everything for you.
Yeah.
You could literally suit your Palico up in such a way that it can even kill Elder Dragons.
Well, not only that,
It could kill a Nergigante with no problem.
Hey, Tiny Palico, go kill this giant dragon for me.
Yes, sir! Yes, Meowster!
But also, you get to dress them up, and it's so adorable.
Oh my god.
Oh, it is.
Like,
And you get to customize them, too.
It's totally
Oh,
worth killing
yeah.
these creatures to get the supplies so you can make them cuter.
And then you have
Forget wildlife protection laws. I'm making my cat cuter.
Yeah.
Kuwaitas.
And then let's not forget the Meowster Chef.
Oh.
and the Meowster Chef, and then with Iceborne you get the Grandma Meowster. And she also is kind of like a chef, but for the northern part of.
But a common thread with the RPGs we talked about is create your own characters and making choices. There are...
Oh.
Actually, if you'd like to go into one that isn't, Witcher.
Yep, that's what I was going to segue into.
Yeah.
How many... I have beaten The Witcher 3. I beat all the DLC. How about you guys?
I have not played Witcher.
I've only played 3.
I've only played 3 as well. Like that's what I was saying.
And be right back.
Okay.
Oh.
Well, perfect timing, because...
Alright.
But, what was your personal, like... What'd you think of The Witcher 3, I guess, to sum this up with a question?
I loved it. I thought it was a perfect example of like what RPGs should be.
So, the interesting thing about this RPG is that you're playing as Geralt, a set character with his own motivations. The difference is you make choices in the game that determine the story's outcome.
Yeah. I think this is one of the great ones, too, because Geralt's one of those characters, it doesn't take a whole lot to put yourself in the mindset of him.
No, it doesn't, but at the same time, he's not a bland piece of paper. He has his own goals and motivations that the player can project onto.
And it's really cool seeing him go throughout the world.
It really is, because he's a Witcher, and this is a world that fucking hates the abnormal.
Oh yeah, they hate anything that is slightly different. Because it literally takes place in fucking Europe.
It does. Well, does it take place in Europe? I thought it was its own world.
Well, it takes place what is essentially medieval Europe.
Oh, okay.
It is its own world, but it's essentially medieval Europe.
Okay, yeah, careful with that. But, yeah, and...
Yeah, I probably should have specified.
Yeah, because, like, I was actually confused. Like, is that Europe? Because I feel like because I remember the one game that does do that is Soul Calibur. But that's a completely different series.
But no, it makes sense though because it's in like a medieval Europe type setting, and they were very xenophobic of anything that was different.
Well, yeah, it was mainly because of religious prejudice for the most part, because religion was very dominant in that time period, and it's similar things here, though I don't think it's religion that motivates it. I think it's just a general human superiority vibe.
That and it's kind of fear, a lot of fear.
Oh, definitely fear, but those two tie
I know,
in.
I know the biggest hate of the Witchers is fear.
Yeah, but that ties in heavily into the themes of human superiority. It's generally based off of fear.
Yeah.
But what was one of your favorite moments playing The Witcher? Like,
one of my favorite. I didn't play a whole lot of it. I never actually got to finish it, but but from what I had played, my favorite moment had to be digging up the Red Baron's child and then having him rebury it.
That was such a good moment. It was a really good moment for the Baron. Character development.
Yeah, it was essentially his own redemption arc.
It was, and like the best thing about that is your choice determines the fate of the Baron, because either he dies or he lives. Yeah. And that was, honestly, I think one of the greatest aspects of The Witcher 3. Your choices affected the world, like the ending. Certain characters got to live or die depending on your actions. Like, some things were set in stone, because, of course, it's a video game, you can't control everything. But other things weren't.
I mean... Yeah, and it was just the right amount of things that are just what it is, and, okay, make your choice.
Exactly.
It did a really great job at balancing that.
It did. But with that all being said, my favorite moment was in the Heart of Stone's DLC. So, spoilers. Big spoilers.
I would imagine so.
Do you remember the guy you met in the tavern who gave you a hint as to where Yennefer was? He was a bald guy. Okay, so his name, I believe, was the Master of Mirrors. Now, he's this super powerful fucking entity in The Witcher, where, like, he's kind of like a genie, where he grants, or a devil, a fiend, I guess would be the more accurate term, where he makes deals with people. There are parameters set around the deal that will end them when they are met. So this one guy made a deal to be, couldn't feel pain, was immortal. But that represses emotions and stuff, I believe. Again, it's been a few years, so I might be iffy on a little bit of details. The 3 parameters he set up were meant to be impossible. One of them was finding the flower he gave to his love, which, through a loophole, you did get. And the third and final requirement was that you would have to stand on the surface of the moon. They would have to meet again, the Master of Mirrors and this guy, for the deal to be struck, like to be finished. He lured him to a temple where the picture of the moon was on the temple ground. So the requirements were met, and he was going to die. Geralt you as a player, as Geralt, can choose to do nothing and gain some knowledge or some items from this entity, the Master of Mirrors, or you can choose to try and save him. The gamble is all or nothing, 2 souls or 1. So you go through this world where you have to solve a riddle, and the timer's ticking, and when you find out the riddle, he does everything in his power to stop you, including shattering the answer. But you find a loophole, you complete the quest, and you save both your souls. It's a really awesome moment.
Yeah.
Like, fuck. The Witcher had some of the greatest DLC in, like, video game history.
Yeah.
Like,
I don't know a whole lot about the other 2 games, but I from what I've heard, Witcher 2 wasn't that great.
I don't know about I just know Witcher 3 was great.
Yeah, oh yeah, Witcher 3 was fucking amazing.
Also, it's very notorious for certain scenes. You know the ones I'm talking about.
Yeah, we know exactly those scenes, and we shall not mention those scenes.
Boobs.
God damn it.
Yeah. I'm immature. But anyways. Yeah, The Witcher, to me, is the perfect example of an RPG that's kind of set in stone. Where you don't create your own character, but you're still someone you can relate to, and you still roleplay that character. Geralt is effectively the choices you make.
And it really shows.
The ending of The Witcher...
he himself changes every time you make a choice.
Yeah. And the best thing about the Witcher franchise is that it kind of feels like Game of Thrones, where, like, it's dark...
And back.
But fantasy at the same time. Welcome back.
Yeah,
like,
welcome back.
The ending that the fans think is canon is the middle of the road ending. I got the good ending in my playthrough. But I would be lying if I didn't say the middle of the road ending, the kind of good ending, was not the canon ending. Because it fits with the world better.
Yeah.
Yep, so we were just talking about Witcher.
Okay.
But now let's move on to a series that has no story whatsoever. An RPG where you are left to fill in the blanks yourself. Dark Souls.
Dark Souls!
Alright, let's get this out of the way. Yes, you die a lot. Yes, it's challenging. We all know this.
It's all about the
Yes,
death.
and no point in talking about that because it's something everybody knows already.
It's literally all about the deaths. Just stop.
Yep. But let's go on
Can
to...
we just not?
Yep, but let's go on
There's
to...
a lot of good things. There's a lot of good things and bad things Dark Souls done.
Oh,
I mean,
definitely.
the lore in Dark Souls is actually
vague.
The lore in Dark Souls
Very
is very
vague,
interesting, but it's extremely convoluted.
It's the same thing with Hollow Knight, which is everything is at a dead end, and you don't know if this is true or not.
Yeah.
You kind of have to fill in the blanks of,
Yeah,
okay, so that is probably what happened, but I can't say for sure.
In essence, I like to compare it to The Witcher as the exact opposite of the kind of RPG The Witcher is. The Witcher is a very set piece of lore where you play as a set character, where your choices matter. Dark Souls, your choices are not really important in the sense of that, but your character is who your character is. Their history, their stuff, that is entirely up to your mind. How they fight.
The only thing that you know is that they're undead.
Yes, which sucks heavily, considering what happens to those.
Means that they have died, which is actually considerably better because that means you can make an entire lifetime for them instead of like, okay, just before this happened.
Exactly. But at the same time, it kind of does suck for those characters because do you know what happens when you beat the game and restore the light?
Yeah.
Like you just basically burn for eternity.
Yeah, that's why most people go with the opposite ending of just letting it die out.
Well, it feels like the natural order to let it die out personally. Like it feels like because like you're artificially.
Oh yeah, because actually I don't want to say it too loud about this, but let's just say the High King, I cannot remember his name. Fucking whatever.
The one from 3.
Sun God.
Are you talking about the one from 3 or a first game boss?
It's technically the final boss of the first game, but his name comes up all the fucking time.
I imagine.
But yeah, him, he is an asshole who just kind of wants humans to be underneath his race, the gods, So he keeps the fire lit in order so they are good, when in actuality the humans would thrive with the fire unlit.
I mean, again, that's the best thing about this. It's all up to interpretation.
Yep.
Your story in that game is your story. And that story
Exactly.
involves a lot of dying.
Yeah.
Oh yes, a whole
fuck
lot
ton
of
of
dying.
it.
I'm alive again. Blah. I'm alive
Wow.
again. Blah.
I will say its difficulty kind of gives its charm though.
Well, yeah, that's what the series thrives on.
Yeah, is its difficulty, so that
Yeah.
you go in there knowing you're gonna have a challenge, and that's kind of what makes you want to go in.
And out of all the games we've discussed so far, I think its legacy is the most impactful in the gaming world. Because every time a hard
Oh,
game
yeah.
comes out, it says, this is the Dark Souls of this.
Yeah, it's like, this is the Dark Souls of platforming. This is the Dark Souls of this. This is the Dark
Yeah.
Souls. It's going to keep happening, and it
Yep.
really is. It's going to last for a
Yeah.
long, long time.
It's left its
The
legacy.
impact of Dark Souls on the gaming community was so great because of its difficulty levels. Like nobody thought about making a game so difficult by default.
Exactly. Like, you kind of saw that in the early days of gaming, where like games were difficult, but it wasn't by design, like intentionally. Like that was the gameplay mechanic. of
Yeah,
it.
it was one of the first. It was one of the first RPG games in specific that was super difficult and didn't have a difficulty setting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hell, Sekiro's whole gameplay mechanic of dying is incorporated into the game very cleverly, I might add.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, it's really gotten to the point where you cannot have a hard game out there without Dark Souls' name being slapped somewhere on it.
Yeah,
Legit, like Cuphead. Cuphead immediately got the Dark Souls
exactly.
on it
The Dark
as
Souls
soon
of
as it came
cartoons.
out.
Cup Souls.
Yeah, Cup Souls.
Darkhead. No, no, that sounds
But-
dirty.
no,
That sounds
Cup
very
Souls.
dirty.
Cup Souls.
Cup Souls.
But
Cup Souls.
yeah, no, Dark Souls has left its legacy, and rightfully so.
Yeah, like out of all the RPGs we've discussed here, I think this one is the most open-ended, the most open to interpretation. And
Mm-hmm.
there's a sense of freedom to that because the world feels like your oyster.
Yeah, because it essentially is.
Yeah, so like, it's not my favorite RPG. That would have to go to Outer Worlds just because it was the greatest fuck you to Bethesda. But Dark Souls is a close second. But what are your guys' favorite RPGs? What are some of your least favorites? Let us know in the comments in the YouTube VOD. Until then, this has been Throwing the Podcast. Bye!
Bye.
Yeet!